From a conceptual perspective, people talk about a desire to be successful. All of the elements they think, intelligence, expertise. Hey, how much am I willing to give up and commitment? And are not committed to the struggle, acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed.
Hello everybody, Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in. I hope that everybody is having an awesome day so far. Hope that you had an awesome week. I'm going to do the best I can not to be in front of you too long for those who come in. First and foremost, I want to quickly remind you that today is going to be the last day that you can sign up for the digital masterclass, digital business masterclass. For those who don't know what it is, who don't know, you haven't heard about it. The digital masterclass is a one-on-one, ultimately 60-day encounter. For the first 3 weeks, we are going to examine your strengths, your passions, your skills, your talents, and determine the best entry point for you to enter into the digital market or online entrepreneurship and business. That's going to be the first 3 weeks. We're going to launch by the end of the 3-week period, your first business. The next 60 days is going to be direct consultation on how to optimize that business and to automate it so that it can create passive income. This is not necessarily going to be your purpose or passion business. This isn't the thing that's going to drive you for the rest of your life. This is simply creating diversity in your income and creating multiple streams of income that are passive, that produce income for you without you having to work each and every day, all day for it. And I've been doing it online since 2001, I believe. I had to go the hard way and learn. I had to lose a lot of my money trying to find the right things because everybody was selling stuff online. Just one click and you'll be rich, and one click and you're trying to figure your way through it. And you know, you use some of your common sense. If it sounds too good to be true, it truly is. But it was so many people promising what they had done and what you can do, and you had to kind of research it and learn it. And so I did all of that until I finally found the groove and began to make money online as a writer, as a consultant, as a coach, media procurement, content procurement. All of these things I've done online, and a lot I still do online. A lot of my business is conducted online one way or another. There's so much opportunity out there, but you have to be willing to invest in yourselves. You have to be willing to go out and do things. And the thing is, this is the time to take advantage of it because we're living in a market that's evolving at an immensely rapid pace. What used to work 5 years ago doesn't work now in many instances. And so you've got to get ahead of the curve. The traditional workspace is definitely changing, and a lot of people are going to be disrupted by it because they're not paying attention to the sounds and the signals of how things are being done. And it's going to be important that you have diversity in your earning potential, because that's what's going to sustain you. That's what's going to hold you. Just imagine, even if you are a six-figure earner, but all of your six figures comes from one source, and you really don't control the source. Even though you are a top producer, even though you're valued at your company, it's not your company. And at any given time, a shift in the economy, a shift in ownership, a shift in direction could mean you no longer have that six-figure income. And now you are looking for ways to replace it. Now imagine you are a six-figure earner and you have 7 different ways that you're earning that money. Now, if one thing goes bad, you simply go out and find something else, but you can still live off of the other 6 while you do it. It's diversity. It's the same way you invest. You don't invest all your money in one thing, no matter how good it looks, because everything turns at some point. You diversify so that you always have something that's winning. no matter what's going on. And that's the most solid and consistent place you can find yourself. And it's so much that goes into it. But the one way that you can get started is in a digital product, a digital service, and that you can offer to people who need it. And you discover that you have something in you right now that people need. If somebody's paying you right now to do anything, you have a level of expertise in it if you've done it for more than 3 years, to take it and make it your own and talk about it. Even if it's in a consulting role. Consulting is huge now. People need people to tell them how to do things because there's so much out there to be mastered that it all cannot be mastered by one person. Well, if you got a person out there with a small business that's trying to get it all done, and you have a specialized area of expertise that they haven't mastered, they need you. It's so important that you get this. Well, anyway, that's that. Email me if you want to get started. And today is the last day. So I only posted that, and I think I posted something about the book, but I don't even think I put the link in there. So that in the book, if you haven't gotten Critical Mass, get Critical Mass. I'll make sure that when this is over, I actually put the link to the book, but it's everywhere, so you can get it. Now, I want to talk to you. This is Quantum Reality Friday. Y'all know I am about the quantum world, the quantum realm, quantum reality, quantum physics, and understanding things. I try to share as much with you on a weekly basis about quanta as I possibly can. Whether you know it exists, whether you believe it exists, or whatever, it doesn't change the fact that it does exist and that it is real and that it is the controlling factor in everything that happens in this world. Everything that you think produces energy. Every word you speak produces energy. Every emotion, every idea has energy attached to it. And on the flip side of that, energy is resonant. What does that mean? Energy resonates with like energy. In other words, if you're on one energy frequency or vibration, you're going to attract things that are on that energy frequency and vibration. I'll give you a prime example. Those of us, you see it in commercials now, and you may see it in a movie or something every now and then, but like when I was growing up, during the time I was growing up, there were always cartoons and and shows that would come on, and there was always this part of a cartoon where there was this fat opera singer, and she would hit this note, and the note would be so high that the wine glasses and the champagne glasses in the room would start to pop. As a kid, you're going, that is impossible. You can't make a champagne glass or a wine glass, a champagne flute or a wine glass pop with your voice. And then after moving along in school, you find out that it's canon. It's called resonation. Here's what happens. When if you take everything in this world, first of all, has energy. Let me explain it to you. I don't care if it's this pen or whatever, it has energy. Everything is made from the same thing. We used to look at the atom as being the smallest molecule or piece of matter, measurable matter on the planet. And so we understood that everything was made out of atoms. What changed the texture and the consistency of something was simply the inner workings of the atom. Now we know that there are things smaller than the atom. There's an entire world inside of an atom. One atom has an entire world functioning on the inside of it. And so we know things get smaller. There's so much more to learn. Well, what happens is that champagne glass or that wine glass has a frequency. If you were to take a tuning rod and tap it, it would emit a sound. And no matter how many times you tapped it, it would emit the same sound. That's its frequency. For a trained opera singer who understands pitch and can hear pitch and match pitch, they can match the frequency. So what happens is the opera singer hits a tune, finds the frequency, and when they find the frequency, that glass will literally attract that frequency because it's the same frequency. And when it attracts that frequency, it absorbs it, but the vibration is too strong to hold it, and it shatters. So that's resonation. Now here's how that works in life for you as a person. If you are walking around and you're down, That's why it's so important to have a time limit on misery, a time limit on feeling down, a time limit on whining and being angry and all of those other negative emotions that have very low measurements on the Hertz scale. All of that stuff falls 250 Hertz and lower, which is horrible. And it's a low frequency vibration. Here's the thing. You can only attract when you're there. You can only resonate with low frequency occurrences, low frequency people, low frequency thoughts. And if you don't find a way to escape the low frequency and find a reason to raise your frequency, which you can, one of the fastest ways that I raise my frequency is through gratitude. I simply start to state the things that I'm grateful for. Gratitude is actually higher on the frequency than love. Gratitude will sit up and shift. It's number one, you can't be depressed when you're in a state of gratitude. You can't be angry when you're in a state of gratitude. When you start talking about all the things you have to be grateful for, there's a shift in your emotion. There's a shift in your thinking. You move from expecting negative things to start to expect positive things. It is the most rapid way to shift. I tell people all the time, I have a 90-second rule. It started out as a day rule. But I've narrowed it down to 90 seconds because I need my day. But when it started as a day rule and I worked on it, I was sharing this with a client last week. And the rule simply says, I will not go to bed angry. I will not go to bed sad. I will not go to bed frustrated. I will not go to bed downtrodden, defeated, or any other thing. I will not carry envy, jealousy, or any malice or anything to bed with me. So before I go to bed, I've got to shift it. And then I start to realize, if I can shift it before I go to bed, I can shift it a lot sooner than that. And I can claim more of my day back when something goes wrong. I can literally press the reset button by reaching out and be in a state of gratitude and acknowledging all the reasons why I have to be grateful, which immediately starts to marginalize, diminish, and make minute the reasons why I'm upset, the reason why I'm frustrated, the reason why I'm hurt. I have the ability to control how I respond to negative stimuli, negative situations. But I have to be able to understand I need to pull myself out of this. And so I moved from doing it in a day to like, okay, I'm gonna give myself an hour. In that hour, I'm gonna cuss everybody that I'm mad out at. I'm gonna whine, I'm gonna complain, I'm gonna point fingers of blame. I'm gonna do all that and for an hour, and then I'm gonna recover and I'm gonna go back and say, why am I giving a whole hour to negativity? And so I got it down to 90 seconds. And in the 90 seconds, it's not just me throwing a tantrum. It's me releasing. So it's still constructive energy being released out so that positive energy can come in. So I'm not just throwing a tantrum. It's like, hey, this is, but every time I complain about something, it's followed with, I have to do this then. I'm tired of this. Well, then I have to do this then. And so it's constantly saying, okay, for everything that I'm upset about, there's a solution. I'm training my mind to understand what you're upset about can be changed. So why are you upset? Even in expressing the fact that I'm upset, I'm reminding myself that I don't have to be. So then it becomes easier and easier to rescue myself from it. Now, what I want you to get to understand is the power of this thing. See, there's this thing in quantum physics called the zero field, or the mind of God. It's the place where consciousness exists at the purest state. And so, you learn about matter and consciousness, in science. It definitely matter. But what we found is the consciousness is within the matter. That's what quantum physics is all about. So if you take a cube of ice, it has energy, but it exists on a certain frequency. Now you can apply a different form of energy by way of heat to the ice cube, and the ice cube now becomes water. Now it's the same substance, but at a different frequency. If I continue to apply heat to it, the water now starts to become steam and escape the surface. It's in a different frequency, but it's the same substance. Again, if more heat, another form of energy, is applied to it, it will become vapor. But here's the beautiful part about it. When we study, and I don't have time to really get into the depth of explaining how it happens, but it's transitioning, it's transforming. Now you get it to a point to where it's not vapor anymore, it's mist. And then you get it to the next level. And ultimately what you find out is that it starts to move from a point of being matter to consciousness. And they discovered this, and I've explained this in a video before. They discovered this by attempting to measure the atom and measure matter. And what they initially found was we can only measure one element or component at a time. So if we're measuring speed, we can't measure the location. We can't find the location. We can't and on these different measurements they will make. They found that was initial. Okay, it's like elusive. This thing is elusive. It's like alive. And then they started to realize that when they were preparing to measure it, it started to transform. It started to move. It knew that it was going to be measured, and it wasn't going to allow itself to be measured. And then later on, they started to pay even closer attention to it and realized that when they thought about measuring it, it knew. It started to behave based off of their thought patterns. Their thoughts were emitting energy that interacted with the consciousness of the matter that had become conscious. And the more conscious it became, in what you reach what's called the zero field, it became pure consciousness. And what we know now is that this pure consciousness knows everything. There was an inventor that said that when he was being commended for all of the things he had invented, he said it was out there in the air. If I wouldn't have gotten it, someone else would. Every answer to every problem is out there, whereas it's in the mind of God. The mind of God isn't in some distant place. The mind of God is all around you. The mind of God is in you. The mind of God, you think about it. If the atom in which everything that is made on this earth exists from an atom, and then when you break the atom down at the purest level, you find consciousness, then that consciousness is in everything. It's around you at different levels, at different frequencies. And all you have to do in order to have the things you want is find the frequency on which it exists, and then put yourself in that frequency, and the answers and the solutions to all the enigmatic problems associated with it will come to you. And the more in tune you are with the consciousness that you are actually a part of. That's what having God inside means. That's the indwelling of God, the Holy Spirit, or whatever faith you come from. There's inside of you everything you need, because inside of you is also the consciousness of God. It's the mind of God. It is everything you need. And a part of my prayer and meditation is ended, and I've shared this with you before. It's about the mind of God. It's okay. That's not a problem I'm going to encounter that I don't have the answer to. I'm confident. I am serene. I am sure. Why? Because I have the mind of God. I have access to every answer. Right now, whatever problems I'm facing, the answers are speeding their way to me. Why? Because I'm in direct connection. I am aligning myself with God. But here's the thing. Well, you got to think, if you're trying to align with God, you got to be, the higher you get on the Hertz scale as far as vibration and frequency, the closer to divinity you reach in being able to communicate with the mind of God. The lower you get, the further away you get, because you got to understand the purity level, right? If it's coming from something that's infinitely intelligent, what's the chance of something that's infinitely intelligent being stomped by a problem, having an enigma confuse it? It isn't. It knows already. So it's never stressful. It's never worried. It's never frenetic and unglued. It's never out. It simply knows. And when you know, you're not worried. So then you can't be on the worried and stressed and upset frequency and get in tune. So you got to climb this ladder of frequency and energy, and you align yourself. And another part of it is like at the end of this meditation, this spoken meditation that I do, there's this part where I say that I am confident, I am serene, I am sure. No matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance crosses my path, I refuse to accept it, because there can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of God, which is in me, around me, and serves me now. That is the thing, and it's constant. It doesn't mean that things don't happen to me in my day that shake me. It means that the moment that I realize I'm shaken, I'm already searching the mind of God. I'm already reminding myself that this is not a problem. It's a puzzle. It's a challenge. It's something that I have the capacity to overcome. There's nothing that I'm facing in life that I cannot overcome. It's simply reminding myself, calm down. Don't become frenetic and unglued. Don't become shaken. Don't become so caught up in the problem that you lose sight of God. Don't become so caught up in the problem that you lose sight of your resource. Don't become so caught up in the problem that the problem becomes bigger than your resource. Always focus on the solution, not the problem. It's that simple. And here's the other thing. The moment you begin to focus on the solution, the moment you commit your energy, your effort, and your mind to solving the problem, you immediately remove yourself from victimhood. You are no longer operating from a victim mentality. You're no longer operating from the position of a victim. You are now in control of your destiny. You are now taking a hold of the reins of your personal sovereignty. And you are deciding that I'm not going to be destroyed by this. I am going to emerge from this victoriously. I'm going to rise from it. I'm going to come out of it stronger and better. I cannot be defeated because I am directly connected to the mind of God, who knows all the answers to all of the problems. How can I lose? Now, let me be honest with you. Let me be honest with you. This is a world of polarities. One of the seven universal laws is the law of polarity. What does it mean? That there's the same spectrum, but there are opposite ends and opposite extremes. There's fear and there's courage and there's everything in between. And what does that mean? There's good and there's evil. There's hope and there's despair. There's all of these things happening. And what you got to understand is that when you make up in your mind that you are no longer a victim, when you make up in your mind that you're no longer a loser, when you make up in your mind that you are no longer going to live a defeated life, that you're going to rise and live life at the level of your design, that you're going to start tapping into the mind of God to solve problems, you got to know that there's another force that's going to come in and try to distract you, try to point to all the things that are going wrong in your life, try to point you out why you can't trust the mind of God, why you can't win this particular battle. And you've got to be committed enough to being where you need to be in frequency and in vibration that you can still get the answer to the problem. Because a lot of people get shaken by the distraction. And when I talk about distraction, I'm not talking about somebody walking in a room while you thinking. I'm talking about you sitting up and saying, hey, I've got this. I finally got the answer to this financial enigma that I'm dealing with, this financial problem that I'm going through. And then the moment you get it, you get a phone call about a bill that's owed that you don't have the money for, or that somebody's looking for your car, or the mortgage company calls you and tells you that you're 3 months behind. Right when you get to the point where you figure, I got it, you get a reminder that this world has polarity. Focus on the solution. Focus on the solution. I'm going to say it again, focus on the solution. When you start to focus on the solution, you start to realize that there's no problem bigger than the solution. Let me say it a way that a lot of you will understand it. There's no problem bigger than God. There's nothing in your life that stumps the mind of God. But so you got to escape that mindset of seeing God as some figure that's distant and far away, that you're not sure whether or not he knows what you're going through and can hear your prayers or is concerned about your situations. And you got to realize that everything you touch, everything you hear, everything you see is made of the mind of God, the energy of God, the power and the force of God. Everything that you can, there's no place you can go. One of the things that got me through the darkest time of my life was a reminder from a statement that Solomon said, and it was real simple. It said that God dwells in the darkness. I'm like, okay, how does that happen? You can talk about it and you can visualize it whatever way you need to visualize it to make it real for yourself. The vision, God gave you vision to see things in a way that it makes sense to you. How you see something is not, doesn't mean either one of us is wrong, because you can't box God in like that. You can't, and that's something that we tend to do. We want to box him in, make it this figure, got to be done this way. If you do it that way, he ain't trying to hear it. If you do it that way, he gonna get mad. All this thing like that. Align with your purpose. And in aligning with your purpose, and you'll know your purpose if you pay close enough attention to your design. Align with your design, align with your purpose, live in the way that the highest level of consciousness tells you you should be living, and you won't have to worry about rules, because the higher you climb in communicating with God, the natural urge of living that way based off of your design and your purpose will put you in the right place. You'll know when you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. You know when you're doing something you should be. You know when there's something you should be doing that you're not doing. It's there. It's constantly pressing you. You've trained yourself to ignore it. Why? Some of you are ignoring it because you're selfish. You want to do what you want to do. Some of you are ignoring it because you're afraid of what's on the other side of that fear. It's real simple. There's a reason why in spiritual books, like the Bible, where the second most common command in the Bible is guard your hearts and minds. You're thinking. Renew your mind. You're thinking. Cast down arguments and take every thought into captivity. You're thinking. It's telling you, lean not into your own understanding. You're thinking. You're thinking. Why is it? Because when it says your heart and mind, your mind is your consciousness. Your heart is your subconscious. 96% of everything you do in this life, each and every day, is guided and governed by your subconscious. If you can control and program your subconscious to respond to the problems and the enigmas of this world in a way that overcomes everything, and you believe you can, it will show up in your results. It will show up in the fruit you bear. It will show up in how you live out your life. It's a reason why the second greatest command in the Bible is to guard your hearts and mind. And if you're not sure what the first one is, it's to know the word. And if you know the word, then you know the next thing is to guard your mind. It's what you're thinking that's got you stressed. It's what you're thinking that's got you worried. It's what you're thinking that's got you miserable, angry, depressed. It's all in what you allow yourself to put in way of you in your thinking. And your thinking are coming from, and all of your thoughts are coming from your beliefs. What are you believing about yourself that allows you to think and expect negative? Self-concept, self-image. The power of thoughts. I tell people all the time, your thoughts have physicality. They're not just abstract ideas. Your thoughts have physicality. When you learn that your thoughts are literally what's producing the stress in your life, the anxiety in your life, the fear in your life, is when you'll start to learn that I can change that, because I can change my thinking. I can renew my mind. God made the mind to be reprogrammable, thankfully. That when you sit up and you have a mind that's not working for you, you can choose what you upload into it by governing and guarding your gates and not allowing the things that will create negativity to enter, and purposely exposing it to the things that will empower it. When I'm working with my clients, it's about evolution in thought. How I get them to it is the unique techniques and disciplines that I've developed through vision, with the Visionetics concept. But the ultimate goal with all of my clients is an evolution in thinking. I'm going to change how you feel about and think about the world. I'm going to change. I'm going to help you change what you think about this life, what you think about the world, what you think about the challenges that you're facing. I'm going to give you some new insight that will change and evolve your thinking in a way that empowers you. That's what this is about. When you change your thinking, you change your life. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, for those of you who want to take a shot at entering into the digital business or online marketplace, creating some diversity in income, you need to email me at that email address. Today is the last day. I'm going to put it on the shelf after that and work with the people I have. If you haven't done it and you're looking to do something beyond what you're doing now, diversifying your income, the cost of it, and I'm going to tell you that right so I can save some people from coming at me. The cost of it is $5.99. However, if you don't make the $5.99 back in the 60 days, I'll give you your money back. And I don't do money backs because I put my work in and I get results. But that's the promise I'm making. But you can't have something without investing in yourself. That's something you got to get out of. You can't wish your way into wealth. You're going to have to invest some things. You're going to have to take some chances. You're going to have to take some risks. What I'm telling you is if in 60 days, if you follow the guidance, if you put it out there and you make it happen, if you haven't earned the $5.99 back in 60 days, then I'll give you your money back. Now, check this out. This is passive income. This isn't your primary work. This isn't what you're doing. Now, I can help you do that too, but that's different. If you want to build something online that's about what you're passionate about and what you want to live your life out about, I can help you with that too. Now, that's going to be a different monster, and it's going to have a greater gravity of return, but it's going to take a lot more work, and it's going to take a lot more of your time. This is something I'm talking about, putting it out there, figuring out something you're good at, getting out there and actually putting in the work. And for this, because it's going to be passive, once you set it up and you optimize it, there's very, very little work to be done. You can come back and tweak it and do whatever, and as soon as it can be done through affiliate marketing, through content procurement, through writing, through so many other things, consulting, huge. And you got a gift. Somebody, if you got a job, you got a gift, and you can be doing that online in a way that allows you to help people. It's always about helping people too. When you figure out a way to help people in a way that nobody else can, you're in the market and you're consuming the market. Why? Because if they want it the way you give it, they got to come to you. You eliminate competition when you use the uniqueness of your gift to deliver the solution. We'll get into all that, but if you're real serious about it, you got to email me today. After today, I'm shelving and I'm going to work with the people I got, because that's in addition to the other clients that I have that are going through the Visionetics program in totality. And most of my people are on a year program, so I'm with them for 52 weeks. And so it keeps me busy, but I really want to work with people who want to take advantage of this. And now, I mean, we've got to get out of that mindset of worrying about what someone's charging, if it's worth it, if it's value. Now, if you pay $5.99 and you make $2, then there's a problem, and that's on me. But if you pay $5.99 and a year from now you've made $4,000, this wasn't meant to be your primary. This is a passive income. Now, you can make it as aggressive as you want to and spend as much time on it as you want to and get greater returns if you decide to. And I have had people transition out of it being a passive income into it being their primary income, and it has worked out great for them. All of that will be talked about when you get at me. But if you're serious about it and you're ready to make the move, email me. I'll explain it a little bit more in a reply email. If you say yes, I'll send you the invoice. You pay the invoice. We book you. And you're going to be doing this with me. I'm not outsourcing it to anybody. You're going to be dealing with me face to face, more than likely through video conference, as we build this thing. I'm going to give you as much assistance as you need in getting launched in 3 weeks, having a presence online. And then from that, we're going to optimize it, promote it, and get it out there. That's it. I got to get out of here. As I always say, live your life on full, and you will die on E, leaving a legacy that will speak for you for decades and maybe even centuries to come. With that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.
I'm out.
Here I come, ready or not. Frank Ocean made this record hot.
From a conceptual
sounded better than Jay.
perspective, people talk
Real
about
talk,
a
I
desire
ain't
to be
throwing
successful.
shots.
All of the elements
Certain
they
things I shouldn't
think,
say.
intelligence,
Shit could bring me to a stop.
expertise.
What other doors could they close?
Hey, how much am I willing to give up and commitment? And are not committed to the struggle, acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed.
Careful who you leave clueless.
Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Rick Wallace. I, along with everyone else at the Odyssey Project, want you to know that we need your help. Please support the work that we're doing. Click the link in the description box. Let's make it happen.